Welcome back, guys. So now we're dealing with chapter 11, which is actually processing payroll. So last week we got to take a look at chapter 10, which allowed us to set up payroll. Okay, so again, in order to be able to do the process for payroll, you do need to complete the payroll setup. You need to set up all the taxes that are required of you. You need to set up your employees, and you also need to set up like what your company offers to your employees. That's always important. You cannot just dive right into a payroll process immediately. You have to go through those initial steps before you can go ahead and set this up. So again, we talked about this particular chapter 11. Chapter 11 is actually a sample file of a previously paid service using one of the Intuit's payroll services. So this is what it looks like on when you actually purchase it. Okay, so this gives you a little sample of what it's like to look at Intuit's payroll services and what they offer to you. Okay, but this one's just the very basic. It's not the big one. It's not enhanced. But I'm gonna go ahead and quickly show you again how to turn on, or if you are using a payroll service, how to activate that. So again, you can go to your employees. And you can go to the payroll updates. Last time we did this, or my payroll services, you can go ahead and click this, and then it will pretty much tell you what there is in regards to what you can do. But if you guys remember from chapter 10, right, I barely showed you what each payroll services does. So again, it's just based on which one would work for you. If you're a small business with not as many people, then you're gonna go for something that's small as basic. Okay, so in your book there are 3 different payroll services, and then it's basic, enhanced, and in my book it's in my QuickBooks, because I'm using 2019, it's called assisted. In yours, it's the full service. Okay, if 2018, it's full service. So those are the top 3. Again, I can't show you the exact ones, but I can. But when you have it readily available, that's what you can do, is you're able to see it here through these ways, like what payroll services you guys are using, XYZ, and how to manage each service. So again, I'll just show you right now. Let me go ahead. I'm going to pull open the chapter 10 that we got to do last time. So I want to make sure that we are able to understand I just want you to be able to understand what services that are provided. So let me see. We were doing PR Setup 18. Yes, this one. Okay, so again, if I were to do something like that, so if you notice, I didn't have to open up or go to open my stuff. I just used a recent file that I was using, and all it's going to ask me to do is just ask me to type in the password, and it will bring up the file. I think I typed it in wrong. Oh, my cap locks are on. My bad. Okay, so again, it will pull up everything from my previous thing that I've entered into this file. So that's the working data file. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close out these windows because I don't need them. So again, if I go to my employees menu bar, I can go ahead and go to the payroll service options. Okay, And usually that's what's going to tell you which options that you have. So you could go learn about payroll, and then you're going to have this little window here that's going to pull up what services are going to be enlisted. So again, if you are going to go for the basic one, which is if you have a minimum amount of employees, then the basic one is the one that you want to go for. But again, as you go down through here, you can learn more on what's there to, what's the difference between the different payrolls, and et cetera, et cetera. Now the advanced, or not the advanced, I'm sorry. The full service, which in your guys' is full service. For mine, it's assisted. Assisted is actually going to allow you to also file the forms to the IRS itself. So when we talk about the form 9, the 940 and the 941, QuickBooks will process that file for you and actually submit it to the IRS to ensure that the payments are being paid, and 2, that you are paying the proper places for those proper taxes. So again, with the bigger the package that you get, the more you're able to, be able to complete tasks a lot more quicker. So that's pretty much it. If you do the basic one, unfortunately, you're going to have to file your own 940 manually, which again, if you don't even use QuickBooks to file taxes, then you're going to have to do manual regardless. So that's just basically what you're doing here when you're looking at which payroll service is going to be there for it. They also do a free trial too for 15 days or 14 days or something like that. So you could try to see if it is good for you, or to see if it's something that you want to use. But because we are in class, we get the luxury to actually get to see a real sample file of how to use the payroll services. So again, if you do not have that payroll service on, I'm going to show you this because it's key that you know this. When you're in your employee center, you only have 2 transactions, okay? Or at the top, you only have 2 tabs. You only have the employees tab, and you only have the transaction tab, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and open up that payroll processing file again, and you're going to now see, now that we have activated our payroll services, now you're going to see that the employee center is actually going to be a little different. So I'm going to go ahead and open up processing again. And again, unfortunately, the only problem with this is that every single file that you open is going to be locked. Okay. Wow. This time I didn't have to press it in. So again, so let me wait till everything's loaded and close out some of these windows. Okay. So again, now that we have the payroll services on, okay, it says right here you could either go to the payroll center, which if you do go into your employees center, now here's the difference. When you activate the payroll services, now you're going to have a tab right here for payroll, and this is your payroll center. So as you can see, this is what I was waiting to tell you about, what's called the payroll scheduler. Okay, this right here, this window is your payroll scheduler. Okay, it allows you to pay your employees on different schedules. Like if one's bi-weekly, one's semi-monthly, this is where you're going to utilize to make schedules of your payments to make sure that you don't forget to pay your employees. And it will give you a reminder on when you have something like that, okay? And then same thing, it even allows you to schedule your payment for your liabilities, okay? So apparently in 2018, you have a more nifty feature. So if you were to exit out of this, if you could see here, you have little bubbles. So for pay liabilities, you have one that notifies you right here. It says that you have one payment due. Okay, so that's what's cool about this. So when I process my employees, they're going to also have a little pop-up window here saying, hey, don't forget you have to pay your employees. Okay? So that is what's cool. So if we go to the Payroll Center too, it's going to pop up the same exact window right here. Okay, so the Payroll Center can be also found in the Employee Center. Okay. And I can't find my mouse so I can extend that wider. All right, so that is pretty much an introduction to the Payroll Center. All right. So this is where we get to choose the options, right? We could either pay our employees, we can either pay liabilities, or we can file forms. Now, of course, this is the basic payroll services. So filing forms right here, you can file them so then you can keep them as a good way to keep track of your forms. But again, this is primarily geared towards actually filing it to the IRS by taking the QuickBooks file and submitting it to your public, your actual tax accountant. Okay. So make sure that you know that. But that's the only thing about the Payroll Center is once you're in here, you have a little calendar on the side. There you go. You have your little calendar side to let you know what day is there. You have your pay employees, your pay liabilities, and your file forms tab. So as you can see, we've been busy and doing a payroll process. So we pay every 2 weeks. I'm sorry, we pay twice a month. So everybody's on that kind of schedule. All right, and let's go ahead and see what else is in the book. So, general rule of thumb, if you are the person that's in charge of your employees or you do the payroll process, so if you are the human resources, this is normally what you have to take care of in general, right? General rule of thumb is you should be able to check every payday or every payday that you want to check to ensure that your employee center is correct. Their times are turned in correctly, okay? Making sure that you update all the information, etc., etc. So these are a few key things that you should do before processing your payroll. And then even after you process your payroll, right? Every month you need to make sure that your tax deposits go through. You want to also make sure that you ensure every quarterly that at the end of pretty much the given quarter, right, that you run those reports to ensure that the payments have gone through or to ensure that your liabilities are correct, especially when you're dealing with your employees, because we'll talk about this as well in the few sections after this, is that there's also sections where in case you understated or overstated, let's say you paid someone too little, or they forgot to tell you that they clocked in for extra hours, or whoever the person is doing the punch-in check or whatever, they forgot to say I actually took 4 days of vacation, right? The HR handles a lot of other businesses besides keeping track of their employees, right? The employees are supposed to keep track of their own time, especially if they are salary based especially when they are wage based, right? I'm not the one that's going to be responsible. If you didn't clock in your hours, well, you need to notify me as soon as you did, if you forgot to clock in your hours. XYZ, things like that. So you want to make sure that those amounts are accurate at every given payday, quarterly, and even every January or every year, right? Because sometimes you have to reset vacation pay, sick pay, whatever it is, right? You need to make sure that you are able to be on top of everything, especially with your employees. So these are just the four, 12, 9 things, whatever it is, that you should ensure in order to, fully process their paychecks and making sure that you're keeping track of records. Okay. Now, when using the Employee Center, so we just saw it. Now, this time we have the Payroll Center attached to it. I just told you again that this section here, right, when you're in the Payroll Center, this right here is your payroll scheduler. Okay. In Chapter 10, I don't know why they mentioned it there because you couldn't even see it. But here, this is where the payroll scheduler is. And yes, you can schedule a lot of people that are on other different pay tracks. You can use QuickBooks to your advantage to be able to remind you, this person's a bi-weekly, you need to pay them on this week, where this person is semi-annually, so you need to pay them. It's the 16th. Let's go. Let's pay them. Okay, etc., etc. Okay, so now that I talked about this, now the first thing we're going to do is we got to ensure tax tables are true. Now, as you guys remember from the accounting class, I talked about the tax tables. The tax tables are going to be found at irs.gov under the section under, I believe it's publication 15. Publication 15 is going to be everything that you need to know about payroll and employees itself, okay? If you've been to irs.gov, that is where it is publicly known for all their tax tables, okay? Now, it also depends on which tax tables you guys are going to be using. So again, when you're updating with QuickBooks and you have QuickBooks access the internet for you, this part should be fairly easy. They just take it right off of the IRS website, and pretty much you're pretty good moving forward. Now, but another thing that you want to do to make sure as well is that don't forget to make sure that your employees update their W-2 forms every year as well. Their W-4 forms, because you never know. One day they may file single, the other day they might file as married, or year. Okay, so just know that every year that they have to update that kind of information. And same thing with tax tables. Tax tables always update at the end. Usually it's mid-November. I believe it's the beginning of November, and it doesn't go into effect until December of the previous year, or even until January the next year. Okay, so just know that information, that tax tables change every year. So that's exactly why it's so important that you update your payroll taxes, because they're different every year. Okay, so of course with this one, we're assuming that we are still using the 2018 W-4 form, because these stuff are all dated back in 2000, I believe 2019 is what it's dated back to. Yep, 2019 is what it's dated back to. So this one's actually using the 2019 to 2019 W-4 forms, which is a lot different now. So when we move into, learning the new payroll way of figuring out how to properly tax somebody, it's even more of a headache for 2020 and 2021, since we are in 2021. All right, so making sure that you understand what the tax tables are. It's the circular e-tables that you can find at irs.gov. Now, of course, for this one, because it's a sample file, these have been done already. So we are straight away and ready to go ahead and start paying our employees. So the first step is when we go to pay our employees, it's pretty straightforward. You got two options, maybe even three if you have it in your employee tab. But once you have payroll on, what's going to happen is, boom, right here, I'm just going to click pay employees. It's going to take me to my employee center, straight into the payroll center. Boom. Okay. If I go to my employees, I can click the pay employees as well on the menu bar. Okay. And that's pretty much it. There's no other way besides going to the employee center, right? Because the employee center is pretty much attached to your payroll center. So it doesn't matter how you get there. The only three ways that you can do is on the home page, on the menu bar, and lastly, when you're in the employee center / payroll center, you just go ahead and click your pay employees. And then you could start from there. Now, once I'm in this window, here's the payroll scheduler. I'm going to go ahead and click start scheduling payroll. So once I do that, now I'm going to get into the employee payroll window. Okay, so this is basically pretty much going to show you who are your employees, what are they subject to be paid for, and et cetera, et cetera. So for example here, when is the date I'm actually going to pay them? When does the pay period start and when does the pay period end? And in this case, it already filled it out for me because I'm paying them every semi-monthly. So 2 paychecks, one at the 16th and one on either the 30th or the 31st of the month. So in this case, my payroll period ended on the 15th of December. Okay, and as you can see here, it tells me I have 2 employees pending for their checks, and then I have the check date. Check date's going to be, I want it available on the 16th. It's always the day after, okay? If you are doing other payrolls, right, it could be whether it's on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, okay? But in this case, I'm paying them and their check is available to be picked up the next day. So there you go. I put December 16th on there. And you want to make sure that you're paying them from your checking account. As you can see, yes, I'm paying from my checking account. It gives you a little overview of your account balance to make sure the number one thing is, do you have enough money to pay your employees? If you don't, you're in trouble because you need to pay your employees because that's always number one. Because if you don't pay them and you say, I'm sorry, we're going to have to push payroll another week, you can already imagine your employees are going to be very upset. So it gives you a little overview that you have $82,000 in your bank account. So good. We definitely have enough to pay my employees. Okay. Other than that, this is what other things that we have to see here is when you actually print it. So check options is print paycheck on a check stock. Obviously, if you are the one that's printing the paychecks at your actual location, then you do need to get that special paper that we talked about, the one that's like holographic with the actual legal federal stamp on it. With the actual, if it requires that you may need to also have special ink. So, yes, there it is. And then, of course, if you don't have that, then yes, you can have it assigned to another check and then you can have it print somewhere else. But in this case, I'm going to have that print. We're going to print it here. Okay. Other things that we have to look at now is we're going to be looking at who these paychecks belong to, and we're going to verify and confirm that these times are accurate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on Katie Reynolds. So here is her window and her time sheets that we've entered in previously. So in this one, we're not using the enter time window. But this one is because we already know if she's salary, it's pretty straightforward. She's going to get paid the same amount for every paycheck, regardless of how many hours she works and regardless of how many days she works, right? Because that's what salary is. You get paid time off and you get vacation pay, sick pay, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter when you come into the office as long as you work in the office. That's what a salary base is. Okay, so in this case, we're good to go here. That here we see that Katie She actually is a salary based, right? As you can see, she's a salary regular. That's the payroll item that we assigned to her. And yeah, and as you can see, because she is salary, this is her paycheck every single month. Okay, so now we got to validate how many hours she worked and etc. etc. Down below, as you can see, gives you the benefits that are going to be deducted from her paycheck. Remember, we talked about this earlier, right? These are things that are going to be taken off her paycheck before she's going to get taxed. Okay, so we have 401k plans. We have the medical insurance, right? We said $100 out of their paycheck. 2% is going to be what we match her for, and she's going to put 4% down. Okay, and then here are all of her taxes that she's subject to be taxed at, including all federal and all state taxes. So as you can see here, we have all the federal withholdings, we have all the 401k deductions, and then we also have all the California taxes that are dealt in California. And as you can see, I didn't have to calculate anything. It just did it for me. And that's all I have to do. I just have to verify that this information is accurate, and is she going to earn this $2,500? And if she does, then this is what her taxes are going to be subject to do for. Okay, so we learned when we did manual payroll, we learned that we used the percentage method. They use the same thing here. If not, they use the bracket method, which is the same thing as the percentage method, except for the bracket method, it's actually more defined and detailed. And this is also including her tax withholdings as well, that she submitted the two withholdings right here. So that's what she's going to get taxed at. And it does it for you. You don't have to do anything. Okay? So that's just looking at all of that stuff right there. And pretty much all we have to verify is that this is the correct amount. So this is where we can actually adjust the hours as well, as in case Katie does actually have a few things on here. So if we actually go ahead and enter in, I believe she had a salary vacation. Okay. And now, once we do this, now it's split in half, saying I'm going to pay this portion to her actual salary, and the other portion is going to go directly into the vacation. But in this case, we can go ahead and disregard that because that's not the real amount that we're going to pay her for. So we actually have to go ahead and adjust it according by hours. So here, I believe she did 85 hours for actual regular, and then she also did 3 hours for vacation time. So by doing that, it's going to adjust the paycheck. So again, now it's taking the $2,500 and it's distributing it amongst the total hours that she's collected, right? So they took 2,500 divided by 88 hours, and now by me displaying this piece of information, now I know that Katie has actually earned itself $2,414 purely by working for us, and then the other 3 hours was due to we paid her for not working, so paid vacation. So as you can see, it will automatically adjust and calculate for you. No need to punch in a quick math. No need to do anything else. It does it for you, and that's pretty much it. Any questions in regards to filling out the payroll sheet and how easy it is? You don't need to calculate anything because it pulled the information from the tax tables. It pulled out the information from our W-4 form. So all we have to actually do is just make sure and guarantee and validate that these numbers are accurate. Yep, no, I'm good right now. All right, so again, We go ahead and click save and close, or you could do save and next. So if I go save and next, now it shows me Mike Mazowski's information. As you can see, this was pulled from the timesheet table, so he did a full 80 hours. Okay, and he's getting paid $24 an hour, so therefore he's going to be getting a check for $19.20, right? That's his gross earnings. Now we got to subtract all of his deductions, his benefits, and then subtract all his taxes. So he's only going to get $11.37 out from us. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead, click save and close, because there's no changes that you need to do for Mike Mazowski. So once I've verified and I've confirmed that these two things are correct, right? We have someone that's earned 85 hours, and we had someone who earned 80 hours. I'm sorry, 88 hours, and the other one was earned 80 hours. Okay. Now you're also able to enter it here if you'd like. If you need to make a quick adjustment, you can do that. That's completely fine. But in this case, it's better if you actually go onto Katie's, like actually go on there and set the payroll items so then you're able to complete that. Once that is all done, I'm going to click continue. And then now it's going to just ask me, are you sure these are accurate? And then I'm going to go ahead and click create payroll paychecks. Okay. Now I got that beep of approval, and then I get this window here to go ahead and start printing out my checks. Okay, so I can either print the paychecks or I can just print pay stubs. Now, we're going to talk about the different ways that you can do this. So here it's saying that, wait, don't forget, you have two paychecks to go ahead and do. I can complete this and actually print the paychecks. So I believe that is the next step here. I pull this window up and I get the print forms right here. You can also do this through the print forms as well. Go to file and print forms. Again, you can print checks multiple times. That's fine as long as you're doing it for legal reasons. As in, like, you properly void the check and then reprint it, then that's an option. Just make sure that you know that is the case, okay? But here I am making sure it's coming from my checking account. My check number is going to be 6069, and I'm going to make sure that Mike and Katie are getting paid. And again, you need to also be able to select them all and then click OK and proceed to the actual print window. Then, of course, this is where you need your signature. Okay, so again, I'm going to go find that file again in my Windows. I believe it is in this one right here. I want my signature. There you go. Click OK. There it is. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, we talked about this very briefly when we did our first time we printed out our checks. There are 3 different styles that you can do. Voucher style is always going to be your number one that you definitely want to utilize, because it allows you to give you a printout of the pay stub right on top, and right underneath is the perforated check right underneath. Okay. Now, what you can also do is, if that's too expensive to make those purchases of that kind of paper, you can go ahead and click the standard. So the standard is when you have 3 paychecks aligned on a regular piece of paper. Actually, well, like on a regular sized piece of paper, and it has perforated lines with the seal on it. And then you can print the pay stubs that are associated with it to go along, and then just give your paychecks that way. That's another option too. Or if you want to do wallet style, so this is the tiny one. Again, it will give you an error message about, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm going to click, don't display this message anymore. Okay, but I'm not going to do wallet style, because wallet style is for the really tiny actual check looking ones. They're the actual smaller sized paychecks. Okay, but voucher styles should be your number one go-to for those things. And you want to do it collated, meaning you want it in order. So Katie's going to go first, and then Mike is going to be afterwards. Okay. Other thing that you can do here is we got the signature, we got the date. We're pretty much okay to go. So I'm going to go ahead and click print, and then it's going to ask me to save it somewhere. So I'm actually going to save it in my little in my folder here, PR 12, 16, 19, whatever it is, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. So once I've saved it, now it's going to say, here you go. This is what you're going to do. You're going to print these two checks, okay, and I'm going to click OK. So again, now I've printed my entire paycheck, and I'm able to also see it through my little window here. I could see that I've made my payment here, and you can also double check your check register because it's coming right from directly from your bank. Oh no, I think I accidentally closed the whole program. Okay, yes I did. Yes I did. All right, so yes I did, and there it goes. Okay. So let me go ahead and reopen that program one more time for you. Sorry about that. I wanted to get to the check register to show you that the check is indeed there. So I'm going to do install later. All right, and again, when you're opening a file, it's going to open up the most recent one that you just opened, which in this case was the payroll processing file. Type in your password, and it's going to leave off of exactly where you left off. So it automatically saved for me by me just clicking the exit button. Okay? So while we wait for the QuickBooks to finally open it up again, there you go. As you can see, my pay employee center is open. Okay, and there we are. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to my home page. And I'm going to verify that my check went through. Do the check register. Click OK. And here it is. Let me see. Check number. What was my date again? Oh, that's right. The date. I have to change the date. I have to change it to December. To December 15th. Let me go to my check register on my go to I don't see it. It should have said it for December 15. I don't see it.
How about the 16?
What did you say?
The 16 because based on the book it shows 12/16.
Right, I'm trying to get there.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to find the 16. But it's showing me that it's only showing me 12/26. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna go confirm that in my payroll center just to make sure that it actually went through and that it didn't close on me. Here we are, employee center. Oh, okay, I'm on the wrong one. I see. File, close company. Okay, I'm supposed to be on processing. See, I was on payroll setup, so processing this one. Okay. And this one only shows the 31st. What is wrong? Here's the 15, but let me close the company again. And I'm going to actually open it this time. Looking up my file because I have a few processing ones. So open up file. On 1/4 processing QB. Processing QBW, searching, process. Okay, so it's got to be, oh, not the flipping nutters, not the image. I want the actual file. $125 today, correct? Yes, so it's this one. It has to be this one, the processing. That's so weird. The check is supposed to be there for 60, 69, and 60, 70. All right, so I'm going to double confirm to see if it saved my work when I paid the employees. So employee center, payroll center. Yep, it says it's there. That it's been completed. So I don't know why it doesn't pop up on my check register, but it should be there, as it says in your book. So I'm gonna go to my home page and check one more time if it's there. I'm gonna go through my chart of accounts. And go to my checking account.
Question too, if you're looking for something you can't find it too, would it also be in the employee section next to their name, in their account themselves, to prove that there was a check in the last
Yeah, but see, that's what I did. I just checked the payroll. It's supposed to actually show up on your checking account. That's the thing. I just wrote a check to them. But yes, that would be definitely a way to do that. So let me go ahead and
didn't process at all for whatever reason.
because it said it was complete. But let me see if I go to my payroll. There you go, paycheck right here. Checking. That's it right here. And if I double click it, there it is. So I don't know why it didn't show up on my checking account. Yeah, I know, but it says it in the book too, and we did everything exactly how it is. And yes, this is how you do it. Okay. I don't know why it's not showing up on my checking itself. I printed it. I actually printed it. It's processed, and here it is. It's done. It's been completed. So I don't know what's wrong, but it's supposed to be on your checking account. And I mean, I could see if I could verify that my checking balance is not 82,000 anymore. I know it is there. It is there. That's the crazy thing. Let's see. Because if you guys remember, my check was 82,000. Now I have a balance of 600. Oh, that doesn't look very accurate either.
We have a balance of 79,370.
Yeah, that's your savings.
That's a savings.
Oh.
In the right account.
Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. 60, 70, and 60, 69. There it is. There's the paycheck. That's what I was looking for. Thank you so much, Lynette. That one I was looking, I was like, that's so strange. So I went to the checking account and it didn't even go. All right, there it is. Thank you. So there it is. Okay. All right, so there it is, my check to Katie and my check to Mike Mazowski. There it is. It's reduced my account by the $3,000 that I owe them. Okay. So that's how that's how you pay your employees. Simple as easy as that. All you have to do is just go in there, press yes, or click to verify that their hours match or whatever that they are, salaries match, and that's it. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. So now, oftentimes this does happen. This is the part where I'm going to talk about making adjustments to your paychecks and whatnot. Okay. So as we see right here, we did find our checks. So thank goodness that they're still there. You can adjust the paychecks at any given time. Now, that's given the circumstances that it's highly recommended that if you are going to do this, to try to do it before you send your checks out, because you never know. Your employee could be one of those people who go run to the bank and deposit immediately. Okay? And if that was the case, then you would, I mean, this isn't the best way, but if you, let's say, are underpaid them, the best way is to cancel the original check and to send them a new one. Why is that the best option? Is because you also have to consider the fact that now they're being underpaid and you're pushing them up a little bit by paying them back. You also have to consider the taxes that are involved in it. So for example, when we do the tax tables, right, when we looked at payroll, if they made $100 more, right, they could be easily bumped to the next bracket. And then therefore they're going to be subject with completely different taxes and tax rates. Okay, obviously the deductions are going to stay the same, but the only thing that's going to really change or really be affected would it be their total federal income tax withholdings, their actual Medicare, Social Security taxes. All of those are based off a percentage of a total amount. So all of those numbers, all of the federal taxes are going to be all over the place. So general rule of thumb is if you are making adjustments to a check, I don't recommend you do what the book says, where it tells you to go to the actual check itself, right? Let's say, for example, I need to fix Mike for some reason, right? And they say manually change it here. That is wrong. Wrong. You should never ever do that. Okay? Not even if you underpaid him by $100, because again, that affects a lot of things. Okay? There's a lot that can happen. Okay? So just because you could tack on $100 on the paycheck, that does not mean that is accurate because of the tax tables that are involved with this. He was going to be taxed at a higher rate. He's going to be taxed Social Security and Medicare. All of those balances are going to be all off and stuff. So the best way to actually do this is if you sent the paycheck out already, void it, okay? And then redo the whole process again. Okay, so what you can do is you could go here and since you're already in the check itself, you can void the check through here. Okay, how the book tells you, right, is to go through the employee center, right? Employee center. We're gonna go to the payroll log, and in the middle here, it should have the little button that says right here. It's very, very tiny. To edit or void paychecks. So when you click this, then there you go. That's where it tells you, well, which one you wanted to edit. And we say we wanted to edit Mike Mazowski's, right? It will tell you right here. And that's how you can edit the information. Which again, I am telling you, this is wrong. Okay? Even if you manually were to type it in and stuff and adjust it accordingly, it is wrong. Okay? So you can go to paycheck details, and here it is. So this is what you want to do. This is the correct way to do it. You want to edit their hours by editing this exact window right here. Okay? So what I did was when I went to the check itself, you have the little payment details. This is where you can actually this is where you can actually make the adjustments here, okay? You can also do that by going to the actual payroll center itself. So let me close out of all of this. You can actually go to the actual payroll itself. So let me get rid of all this. And go ahead and click make schedule payment again. And instead of doing that one, you're actually going to click this and say that this is for the previous one. So December 16th. And then it will pull up all the information again. And then this was for the check of the 2013 or 16, right? Once you do that, then it's going to pull up all that information again. Okay. Now, again, that's just another way that you can edit it, but I'm just going to go ahead and go through with the first one. Okay. Okay, don't tell me again. All right, so again, you can edit that way through there by, well, obviously, rule of thumbs first is you're going to cancel this or edit, void, or make adjustments to it and do it that way. But I'm gonna go ahead and just do it do it this way. So we'll go to edit, void checks, and let's say Mr. Mike Mazowski, he called in sick one of the days, so he ended up missing a whole entire hour shift. So if I were to make adjustments to it by doing that, I need to go through this window right here. And I need to make an adjustment to his hours, right? I have to say that he only completed 72 hours instead of doing the full 80 hours. Okay. Here you go, 70. There you go. Okay, now my window is freaking out. Give me a second. Okay, so there you go. I made his adjustment to 72 hours, or maybe he did overtime, whatever it is. So once you make the adjustment, now everything's going to reverse and fix everything for you here. Now, there could be some minor errors when it comes to making adjustments, especially if you don't do it through this exact window here. Because if you don't, then, you're going to have either overstated or understated liabilities. Okay. So in this case, I validated that he only earned, well, actually, I'm going to take it back and put it back how it was and say he earned the 80 hours. Yeah. Okay. And then there. Then you get this little message, say do not display. Okay, yes. And then you get that window again. And once you do that, then I'm going to go ahead and click save or click OK. Okay, so his paycheck, I'm not going to tamper with it just for today. So it's already, I'm going to save close. Yes, I want to make those changes. Okay, so there you go. That's how you're going to edit each one. So remember, if in case you do send out your check, first thing you got to do is you got to void it and then redo it. Okay, you're going to edit and redo it, and then you're going to reprint a new check with the new corrected amount. Never ever write a second check with the adjusted amount. That's wrong. Okay. Any questions in regards to paying employees and adjusting their times and stuff?
No, nothing.
Okay, let's see if we're good on time. It is 2:40, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next section here. So we have looking at printing pay stubs. Yes. So when for any reason that you need to make records or keep records of your employees for any reason, your pay stub is a good one, especially if you are going to be turning in your W-2 when you turn in your W-2 forms to the IRS, they're going to send you back the employees' W-2 forms as well, just to ensure that they audit it correctly and that you made your payments and that you correctly paid each employee. Okay. Now, this is also for if any employee also needs the pay stub for any reason, right? You can print pay stubs at any given time. Just know that if you do make any adjustments to them, to make sure that you give them the correct one. Okay. So in order to be able to do that, you're going to go ahead and click on File, and you're going to go to Print Forms, and then you're going to click on Pay Stubs. Okay? And you can print any pay stub according to the date. Usually it's going to be your most recent ones. But yes, you can choose which date you want to actually print the paychecks on. So if you wanted to print the previous one, which was November 30th, you may do so by adjusting, and boom, there you go. Here's the one for November 30th. If you wanted it from way back when, you can adjust it by clicking the date here of when you actually created the pay stub in the first place. So I'm going back to December 16, and basically you can go ahead and print these as well, and you can either print both of them, you can print one of them for whatever records it is. If you need multiple copies, you can obviously make multiple copies. And pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can even preview it if you'd like. Here's I think this is Mike's pay stub detail. So as you can see, he did all of these. All of these are his taxes he was subject for. All of this is benefits, how many hours he worked, how much he's getting paid. All that information, year to date stuff. So if you anything that's standard on a regular paycheck or pay stub is what you're going to find here. So all these details in regards to this person's, the way they worked and what things that they were subject to pay. okay, including deductions that were taken away from their paycheck. So they know at the end of the day that their total that they earned from the check is supposed to be only $11.37, when even though he worked the full 1,900 and something dollars. Okay, he has all these taxes that he has to pay. Okay, pretty straightforward. You could print them at any given time. You could print any one at any given time. So there you go. Yep, and that is pay stubs for you. Any questions? Pretty straightforward. This one is. Okay, so yeah, we talked about editing paychecks, right? And then now let's see what the next section is. Paying payroll liabilities. So I think I'm gonna call break right now, and we'll continue back when we come back from break. So right now it is exactly 2:45. So take a nice 20-minute break, and we'll come back and we'll go ahead and resume with paying the liabilities. Okay.
All right.
All right. See you then.